Hello and welcome back to another edition of the Medeek Floor plugin. My name is Nathaniel P. Wilkerson, and today I wanted to talk about the various open joists and open truss products that I've added to the floor plugin. So I think now we've added a few more. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys that here on the web page, just where they're clearly delineated here underneath the what can you do with the Medeek floor. So originally, as you can see here, we have Weyerhaeuser, Boise Cascade, LP, Redbuilt, and Pinkwood, and of course solid sawn lumber. So those were the initial products that I had available. And recently now I've added open joists, Triforce open joists, Redbuilt, and they're open web trusses, and those are kind of a hybrid steel wood sort of the configuration. And then we've got, of course, your typical K series, Nucor steel joists. Actually, I mean, I think there's other companies that make those, but the K series is just a standard steel joist product. And then after that, we get to the CFS or cold form steel joist, and basically Clark Dietrich makes kind of the standard one that you're probably mostly familiar with. And then there's a couple other kind of, I would consider them slightly more exotic joist products, Total Joist and Joist Right. So let me go ahead and just demonstrate those, and we'll run through some of those here. Let's go ahead and just lay down a real quick grid, and then let's draw ourselves a floor. All right, just give it a second here, load up our floor menu. It's over there this time. All right, so we'll just keep, let's go ahead and put our seal plate down just so we have that. We'll leave all the other options off just so we can expose these joists and trusses so we can see them better. So normally the way you're going to select these is you're going to go up here and you're going to select sawn lumber I-joist, right? And then, so now as you can see, we've got 4 other options here added. So 4 new families, and I will also be adding in MPC trusses or metal plate connected trusses. Those right now are only available in the truss plugin, but I will be working on that module as well. So quite a lot yet to do. So let's go ahead and just start with the open joist product. And you'll notice as soon as you select that, you're going to get the open joist family. The 3 parameters will pop up. The only one that is available, of course, is the Triforce product, and then there's a few different sizes here. So let's go ahead and just start with that one, and then I'm going to show you what this is all about here. But let's just update on that and throw down a real quick floor. Just a rectangular floor is good enough for now. Give a second to load. Okay, so the thing about this particular product is it comes in set sizes. I think they're 2-foot increments all the way from 6 feet up to 30 feet. So they're only set sizes. So if you get your floor out here past 30 feet, you're probably going to notice that these are going to actually be reversed, flipped the other way, and then they won't be trimmed, right? So what happens is this is the trimmable panel on these open joist products, or the Triforce product. And I'm going to show you what how that works exactly. So if we go ahead and move this boundary here, let's say we bump it 2 feet in. Okay, so actually it bumped it to the next size. Okay, I didn't quite do that quite right. Let's go ahead, and I don't want to bump to the next size. I want to just trim it. Okay, so it's going to bump to the other size, and now it's going to trim that trimmable panel. And so notice that what it's actually doing is the algorithm is placing the joist on this side, and then it's pushing it out and overhanging it out here, and then it's trimming it to match. And like I said, it will automatically detect the size of your floor and then trim it accordingly. And the reason why there is a left and right is because if we go here into the edit menu real quick, you'll notice there's left and right. So sometimes, you might want these flipped around the other way, right? And that is why I've given you that left and right option right here. Let me see if we can make that work. Yep. Okay, so that's basically that product. It's an all wood product, kind of an interesting product, I think. Okay, so let's jump to something else now, just to show all these other options off. So open joist, we have basically only one joist family. If we go to the open web, now we're going to go to the Redbuilt open web family, and that's the only other family as well there. Now with the Redbuilt trusses, things get a little more interesting, a little more complicated. Let's just go ahead and go with those defaults, hit update there. Okay, now you can see that even though we have a rim joist selected, no rim joist is being drawn. And that is by default or by design. So there really is no rim joist to speak of, but you want to keep that rim joist setting on, because what that does is it treats this array of trusses or open, yeah, I guess they're open web trusses. It treats them like that there is a rim joist there, so it's not trying to put one out here on the at the perimeter along that gable end. So anyways, just something to be aware of. So these do not come in any set size. They're infinitely sizable. I mean, they're infinitely adjustable. You can set your truss depth. Let's just say 16, and it tries to create that whatever seems to work. And so basically, the algorithm here is it's setting the number of panels or triangles. Basically, it's trying to keep these in equilateral triangles. That's essentially the algorithm. And so I don't have a specific algorithm from the manufacturer or anything. I'm just kind of going off of their literature and trying to figure out what seems to work. And you've got quite a few options here. You can set the bearing length. You can set whether it's top bearing, bottom bearing, that sort of thing. And you'll notice here you've also got let's see, I think it's 5 different options as far as your truss sizes. And they have, you can set, it basically changes them up here to 2x6 from 2x4. Now, there's just a lot of options here. Let's go look at the S variant, and then the M variant, I think is 2x4s doubled up. And then the last big one here is the H variant, which is 2x6s. Notice how thick those are. I mean, these would be big trusses. I mean, you'd be spanning probably 60 feet or more, 2-inch pipes. Anyways, let's go back to the red L, which is the lightest one. And then let's go ahead now and set our bearing on the left and our bearing on the right to bottom and bottom. Okay, so that's left, of course, is over here by the origin, and right is always out here away from the origin. So if we go ahead and set that to bearing bottom, bottom, now you'll notice that we've got the trusses, so they're bearing on their bottoms. And you can also do a kind of a split design as well. Let's go top on one side. Okay. Now you'll notice here that we've got a situation where it's bearing on the top here, but now it's going to bear on the bottom. Now this sort of thing you'll find actually in a lot of commercial buildings, where you've got trusses bearing on a beam that runs the length of the building, or maybe even a partition wall. And in situations like this, what you would probably do is you'd come along here and you'd say, well, I like that, but I don't want that seal plate there. Of course, that doesn't make any sense, right? It's cutting right through the truss. So that's why I added the remove seal plate option. So what we can do now is we can remove that seal plate. I don't know which one that is. I'm assuming it's probably 4 because of the way we drew this assembly. So let's go ahead and do that. Yeah, so yes, see what we can do is we can remove that seal plate. You may want to remove these other ones here on the gable ends as well, or you might not. That's up to you. But you may not even need a seal plate. But I just wanted to show you that's how you deal with the situation where you've got this kind of a top-bottom arrangement with this type of truss. Okay, so so that's the Redbuilt open web family. Now let's jump over here to our steel trusses. So for the steel trusses, I haven't added too many types in yet, just the one. I haven't got enough basically data yet to really put together any of the other series. The KC series for one is probably one I want to add eventually, but right now we just have the K series. You can see that with the K series, there's quite a few parameters here, so you can really fine tune these things. Let's go ahead and just throw that one in there, the default settings. Let's go ahead and turn that. Actually, let's just turn our seal plates off for now. Actually, no, let's leave them on. I think it helps to see where everything is bearing on. Okay, so yeah, typical sort of steel open web truss that's used in a lot of commercial buildings. Quite a few options here with regards to how you might want to set these up. And again, you can use your presets, once you've got kind of how you want it. You can set your top chords, your bottom chords. There's quite a few different sizes here. Right now with the web style, all you can do is rods right now. but you can set your web diameter. You can set the bearing length on both ends and the bearing height. So for instance, the bearing height, and of course this only actually applies to top bearing trusses like these ones shown. Sometimes, you know, this will be a higher, taller value, so you can see how you can adjust that. Yeah, truss depth, same as pretty much the other ones, so you know, you can change that up. There's a lot of parameters here. You can play around them. I think they're pretty self-explanatory. You know, and then if you understand these trusses, then you probably know what most of these parameters are. This end panel parameter is basically the distance between the end of the truss to where the first equilateral triangle starts. So that is kind of what that is. Like for instance, if I were to drop this to 16 inches, you'll see the difference here. See, so that's not really typical. I think it looks typically more like this. Yeah, so it gives you lots of options. And again, this one, similar to the last one, we can do bottom bearing as well. So I'm going to change both these to bottom bearing just to demonstrate that. And so now you've got this sort of arrangement, and it draws in the little vertical uprights right here at the terminal ends of the trusses. And similar to the last one as well, we can do a split configuration. So you can have top bearing on one side, bottom bearing on the other, and vice versa, right? So let's go ahead and switch that back to bottom. Yeah. And anyways, I think I've shown a few images of this sort of thing. Again, with that seal plate would go away. All right, so that basically is what I have for steel trusses right now. Like I said, I do want to add in a few other, I think there's 3 other main series that I would like to add in, but I don't have enough data on them yet to model them or properly model them. So it's something out there. Okay, let's jump over to CFS joists, or cold form steel joists. Okay, so on these ones now, I have, let's go ahead, it's going to drop those in there. It takes a second to load those. Okay. So notice I've got LVL rim joists, right? So typically in a situation like this, you're going to have probably metal, and I've got to probably do a little more work on this, but with the rim joists, you'll notice I've recently added in this option, material option here, where you can assign steel to it. So let's go ahead and do that, just so that looks more kind of along typical. Okay, so yeah. We basically have kind of your very standard cold form steel joists, and I've got a few sizes in here. I think I could probably add a few more in. I think we've got the 12-inch and the 14-inch, and you know, as far as the thickness on these goes, you know, you can get different gauges of steel. I'm just probably going to stay with just one size because I mean, unless requested, I don't see the reason to add in all these different steel gauges when really. You know, visually they're pretty much, they all look the same. It's not a huge difference, but you know, again, for reporting and estimating purposes, people may want a little. So just let me know on that. Okay, so that's that, and then let's go ahead, and in the CF joist family, you've got 3 different types. You've got the total joist variant. Let's go ahead and jump to that. And it takes a little while for these to load in because what it's actually doing, it's loading in pre-modeled. These are pre-modeled assemblies that it's bringing in. So it's like bringing in the joist hangers. It takes just a little bit. All right, so that's total joist. So kind of an interesting product. And you'll notice with total joist, and I think with the other one as well, you can shift these joists. Now the reason for the shift is because there might be situations where these holes don't line up exactly where you want them to line up, and you may want to adjust that slightly. So for instance, let's say we bring this over 12 inches, right? And you can use negative values as well there, just so you know. So you can shift them right or left. It doesn't really matter. Give it a second here, and see, now we've shifted. Okay, so we've shifted the joist. Actually, so we probably want to use negative. That's right, because I'm starting at one end and I'm pushing it the other way. So you want to use a negative value in there. And it will trim that joist on the other end. Just give it a second here. Yeah, so we've shifted it over. See, but see now in this situation, you've got this. This would not be typically what you'd want to do. So you'd want to shift that more or not shift it at all. But anyway, I'm just giving you the idea. So with this, there really is only 2 sizes of total joist. I think with Clark Dietrich we had 6 different sizes. And if you're not familiar with what these sizes are, their literature explains it. Basically, the 12 is the 1200, 1400 is 12 inches, 14. And then this is 2, 2.5, and 3 inches on the flange width. All right, so last but not least, let's go to the joist right product, and let's just go ahead and put 0 in there. So with the joist right, I think we have also 6, pretty much the same as the Clark Dietrich. We've got the 12, the 14, and we've got a 2, 2.5, and 3 inch flange. So let's just go ahead and update that. Give it a second to load. And again, the same thing here. You can shift these joists back and forth as you need. Give it a second here. Okay, so this is kind of an interesting product. Oh, and by the way, the left-right. So what the left-right does is it essentially flips the joist the other way, right? So right now that's the left orientation. If we go right orientation, and I apologize, this takes a little while to update, but it's just the nature of the way it's bringing these components into the model. So let's kind of flip that around, and you will see it. Yeah, there you go. All right, so that is pretty much it, I guess, as far as the new products I've added in. The only other thing I wanted to point out was under the iJoist products, if you go here under the PKI floor or Pinkwood product, so I'm going to go ahead and hit update. Notice here that when you go between, and these other ones only have 2 parameters, right? But the Pinkwood has this 3rd parameter called Web Shield. So this is a new innovation or new feature of this product that I guess they recently added, so I added it in as well. What that does essentially is adds this additional web shield onto each side of the joist. And I don't know, it's kind of an interesting feature, but I thought I'd add it in just in case people are using their products and want to show that. But yeah, you can also turn that off and just use your regular Pinkwood joist. So you have the unprotected ones, and I guess this is for fire protection, right? So that you can have these joist floors that don't have a drywall or gypsum cover over them, or ceiling, sorry. Anyways, that's pretty much it. Just want to show you guys all that, and then I will be working on the final floor family, which is the MPC trusses. And that may take me a little while to do that, but I think actually most of the code is contained within the truss plugin itself, so it's just going to be a little bit of copying and pasting, and then adjusting things so that I can handle the polygon floors. So if there are any other joist products or families or something that you want to see added and that I have not yet added, go ahead, send me an email, and I will certainly take it under consideration. So once again, guys, thank you for your support, and we will talk to you later.